You have been there. Someone looks at you and decides you aren't worthy of their respect. They dismiss or undermine you in front of others, and in that moment, something inside you starts to burn. The natural instinct is to explode. You want to react, to defend your honor, and to show the room exactly who they are dealing with. But view this interaction as a probe. Machiavelli observed that people push against one another simply to map out invisible hierarchies, testing whether you are someone to fear or someone to dominate. Every room is a battlefield of these calculations. People are watching and measuring, and the moment they sense an opening, human nature dictates that they will exploit it. When you lose control and react with anger, you aren't showing strength. You are confirming that their words have power over you, handing the attacker the emotional reaction they were hunting for. Machiavelli studied the rise and fall of princes to document how power functions in a world indifferent to sentiment. In his view, human interaction operates as a series of calculated transactions. Within this framework, your attention and your emotional responses are treated as finite assets with a specific market value. Every insult is an attempt to force a trade. The aggressor expends energy, hoping it claims a portion of your emotional focus in return. To maintain your position in this invisible economy, you have to override the biological urge to settle the score immediately. Power belongs to the one who can hoard their psychological currency. When you refuse to pay out an emotional response, the aggressor is left with a deficit of energy and no return on their investment. Consider the cost of a reactive response. When a man explodes in defense, he thinks he's projecting power. In reality, he is providing the room with a psychological confession of his own fragility. He becomes predictable. His voice rises, his body tenses, and his entire focus is effectively hijacked by anyone bold enough to push his buttons. A Machiavellian approach treats these same feelings of anger as data points rather than commands. You acknowledge the irritation, then set it aside until it becomes useful as a tool. This creates space for the most effective counterweapon: silence. By refusing to participate, you deny the attacker the validation they need. Tension builds. The attacker feels exposed, standing alone in their chaos, while you remain unreadable. By giving them nothing, you force their own behavior to condemn them. You haven't just ignored the attack, you've shifted the social cost of the interaction onto them. Restraint is not the same as surrender. Silence is simply the baseline that allows you to choose between two high-level responses. The first is strategic retaliation. If you must set a precedent, the response is never a wild swing in the heat of the moment. You wait until the conflict is seemingly forgotten, then strike with a precision that ensures the mistake isn't repeated. Often, the most effective strike is the quietest. You might simply withdraw your support or resources, watching from a distance as their situation deteriorates without the help you once provided. The second path is true indifference. This moves beyond strategic response by treating the attacker as functionally irrelevant to your environment. You look past them. You communicate through action that their words have no weight and their presence has no impact on your trajectory. When you genuinely do not care, you starve the attacker of oxygen. They are left screaming into a void while you move on to the next phase of your own development. Defending yourself in every minor skirmish is a drain on your resources. If you constantly fight to seem powerful, you aren't using that power to build anything. The goal is to cultivate a reputation for competence and emotional consistency. You want to reach a level where your history of performance does the talking for you. A solid reputation acts as a buffer. It handles the low-level tests of hierarchies before you even walk into the room. This is built on 3 pillars: sharpening a skill until it cannot be dismissed, enforcing boundaries with firm consequences, and maintaining a degree of mystery that keeps others from predicting your next move. Every time you refuse to be baited by a temporary distraction, you are making a deposit into that reputation. You are essentially killing the reactive version of yourself, the one that gave power away, so that a disciplined version can take its place. Your mandate is to observe, to pause, and to act only when the move is advantageous. When consistency and competence define your name, the cost of crossing you rises. Disrespect stops being a low-stakes test and becomes a gamble with a high price, rendering you functionally untouchable.